The Battlefield franchise is probably in my top 5 favourite multiplayer shooters today. I've been playing the series for many years and I tend to play almost each title throughout its entire lifespan until the newest title gets released. And during the marketing months of the game before it releases, they always bring the big guns to the reveal to show everyone why they should buy their game. And generally for Battlefield, the multiplayer is what does it for them. But what about the single player? Why is the single player always left at the back? The Battlefield developers seem to not really prioritize the single player enough during the marketing months, and while they will show off a little bit of it, they don't seem to have the enthusiasm and passion as they would for it as they do for multiplayer. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about what Battlefield 1's campaign did wrong, giving examples of other FPS games that have had good campaigns and what DICE can do to adapt to it in their own way of storytelling. I will be mentioning Battlefield 1's spoilers in this video, so you have been warned. When Battlefield 1 was first revealed back in May 2016, our only knowledge after that event of the single player was that we would be witnessing the destiny of several people and how they would react to the world changing around them. After that, we did not hear from the single player until September when we were greeted with the trailer that was shown, and the reactions was immense. Many of us were blown away and it gave a lot of us the impression that DICE were going to be bringing new life into the single player. And when the game released, we had the answers. So how was the campaign? It was okay, visually beautiful and the voice acting was top notch, but those two things combined won't make you the entire experience. Gameplay, characters and storyline, all of those things are attempted in Battlefield 1, but they fail. Characters had potential to be loved by the players, but are quickly thrown out the window because of how rushed out each story mission is. Many stories will end too quickly. Through Mud and Blood goes from being a happy ending to a sad ending in under 20 seconds. The Runner starts in Gallipoli when they storm the beaches and ends during the evacuation. That was 11 months of fighting and all of that took place in that story in 30 minutes. And when you play the mission for yourself, it all seems to feel like everything that happened in that story took place on the same day. It wouldn't surprise me that DICE had much more in development but had to cut it from the final product because maybe they didn't have enough time to put it in. Storyline, again, doesn't have much effect either. In almost all of the stories, you're playing someone who is essentially just given orders to do a mission, nothing more. That alone will not make the player feel connected to the character. When I started playing the Battlefield 1 campaign, I went in with this knowledge. The world is plunged and consumed into full-out war, and I'm going to be visiting some of these locations and characters that are in the middle of this atrocity. And some of these war stories start off with very short and poorly illustrated introduction scenes. Sometimes you're thrown into an action scene before you even know who the name of your protagonist is. Some introduction scenes have nowhere near enough time to brief the players as to what the premise of the situation is. Players start off confused, and before they know it, they're thrown into a raging battle, pushing from section to section until they're rewarded with a cutscene. And gameplay in the single player must be able to separate itself from the multiplayer to make it feel like essentially two different journeys. But again, Battlefield 1 sticks to the same generic gameplay throughout the entire campaign. All the missions are played out like you would in your average multiplayer match. Only time Battlefield 1's single player moves away from multiplayer aspects is when you crash your plane on an airship and you have a few gun battles inside, and all of that lasts in 3 minutes. And for the rest of the campaign, it has no uniqueness whatsoever to make the single player feel any more special. What makes matters even worse is that some of the campaign levels are set in sections of the multiplayer maps themselves, giving me the impression that they had no creative level design when developing it. There is never any immersive set pieces throughout the campaign. No tall structure buildings falling down. There's no massive explosions maybe that create foxholes for the player to have another layer of cover as they move up. There's just not another flavor added to this single player. So let me talk about two other games quickly, just as examples that don't have amazing single players, but have concepts that DICE could take notes from. Let's start off with Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 doesn't have a great storyline in general. It essentially boils down to just having you finding out about a device that may destroy an entire planet. But that's not what makes it special. What makes it special is the two characters that you are given in the game. All of the events that happen from start to finish in this campaign happen in very little time at all. The connection between the two characters, Pilot Jack Cooper and BT the Vanguard Titan, seems to be one you really buy into and makes the player more invested in the story. Players can be immersed into the world once they get to know the characters, their background and motivations. The characters are essentially what will hold your hand as you explore the universe. Unlike in Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2 separates each section throughout the story very well. There will be parts where you're by yourself, making you feel more paranoid and scared, and each objective in the story offers different variety for how the player chooses to complete them. Let's use my second example, Halo Reach. Now this one's a bit different. A campaign that lasts around 8 hours and the game wants you to fall in love with 6. Does it do that? Yes. How? Throughout the 10 missions in the game, there will be one where the player will play a part alongside one of the 5 other main characters, making it so much more easier to develop a bond with these characters as you fight alongside them. In the desperate struggle that the story tells in the game, you reach a point where you don't want to even be separated from your squad mates, but there's only so much you can do, and that's what makes that specific story so much more empowering. And notice the story sticks to one narrative. It doesn't jump all over the place like you see a lot of movies and games do alike today. Halo Reach doesn't tell 5 stories at once. It sticks to one specific story and plot and focuses on specific characters, in which will create the development of a friendship between the players and the games. So in conclusion, DICE wants to tell their stories in their way, and whilst the examples I've given have plots that are very over the top for DICE, I still think that taking specific notes from these certain aspects of their stories will point DICE in the right direction to create a kick-ass single player. Good plot, characters, unique gameplay, presentation, and fun. Have those boxes ticked, and you have yourself a surefire winner. What about you guys? Tell me your thoughts in the comments, what you think makes a good Battlefield single player. Do you even care about the Battlefield single player, or do you want it to actually have a good one day? Let me know in the comments, share your thoughts, leave likes, comments. I'll see y'all soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye.